Retatrutide just posted the largest weight loss numbers ever recorded in a phase 3 clinical trial. 28.3% at 80 weeks, 30.3% at 104 weeks, bariatric surgery territory from a weekly injection. And the question I am getting more than any other right now is, how do I get it? I'm going to answer that honestly, not the way the internet answers it. Right? The way a coach with 33 years of clinical experience answers it. Because what I'm about to tell you may save you from making a very expensive and potentially dangerous mistake. My name is Rob Lagana. I have been coaching adults over 40 for 33 years. I work with people whose bodies have stopped responding to conventional training and nutrition. Retatrutide is something I follow closely because it is directly relevant to the clients I work with. This is not medical advice. Always work with your physician. Let me be precise. This video was filmed May 27, 2026. These are the facts as of today. Retatrutide is an investigational compound. It is not FDA approved. It is not Health Canada approved. No new drug application has been submitted to the FDA. Eli Lilly is expected to file sometime in the late 2026 to early 2027, pending 3 remaining phase 3 readouts. The earliest realistic FDA approval is mid to late 2027. Commercial availability, meaning a prescription you can actually fill, is realistically early 2028. Even after approval, supply constraints and insurance negotiations will delay widespread access by an additional 6 to 12 months. We have seen this exact pattern with every compound in this class. Semaglutide, tirzepatide. Retatrutide will be no different. And I want to flag something important. The American Diabetes Association scientific sessions are happening June 5th to 8th, 2026 in New Orleans. A full peer-reviewed Triumph 1 data will be presented there for the first time. Everything you are seeing circulated right now, including the 28.3% figure, comes from Eli Lilly press releases, not yet a peer-reviewed journal publication. The full data set, including the complete safety profile, will be available after those presentations. And I will be watching closely and updating this content as needed. Now let me address what is actually happening out there. There are vendors, some calling themselves compounding pharmacies, some calling themselves research peptide suppliers, who are selling retatrutide today. Not many, there are some. I need you to understand exactly what that means legally. On September 9th, 2025, the FDA issued formal warning letters explicitly stating that retatrutide cannot be compounded under federal law. Not under 503A, not under 503B. There is no shortage list exception available because retatrutide has never had an FDA-approved version. There is no shortage to declare. The Alliance for Pharmacy Compounding, which is the industry's own trade association, has explicitly told its members not to compound retatrutide. Health Canada has issued public warnings against unauthorized injectable compounds, including retatrutide. And Eli Lilly has filed an appeal to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit over whether retatrutide should be classified as a biologic, right? If Lilly wins that classification, compounding barriers become even stricter. The legal landscape is tightening, not loosening. What this means practically, if someone is selling you injectable retatrutide right now, outside of a clinical trial, it is coming from an unregulated source. No quality control, no verification that it contains what the label says it contains by third party, right? And not by any third party. No pharmacovigilance, no accountability, right? You are injecting an unknown substance into your body from a source with no regulatory oversight. I work with adults over 40 who have spent decades building their health. This risk deserves to be named clearly. Well, here's the good news. While retatrutide is not yet available, Eli Lilly has 3 approved compounds in this class right now. Right? There's semaglutide, sold as Wegovy for weight management. It's produced approximately 15% weight loss at 68 weeks in the Step 1 trial published in the New England Journal of Medicine. Tirzepatide, sold as Zepbound for weight management, produced 22.5% weight loss at 72 weeks in the Surmount-1. That is not a consolation prize. That is a significant clinical result. And in April 2026, Eli Lilly received FDA approval for Foundayo. I think I pronounced that correctly. Foundayo. This is orforglipron, is the first oral GLP-1 receptor agonist for weight management that can be taken at any time of day without food or water restrictions. So no injection required. And that approval happened in April 1st of 2026. And these are real approved, quality controlled options available through a physician today. If you are a candidate for GLP-1 therapy, the tools exist right now. You do not need to wait for retatrutide, and you do not need to take an unregulated risk for getting started. Here's what the mainstream conversation about retatrutide gets completely wrong. Every article focuses on the number, right? Like 28.3%, 30.3%, and those numbers are real. But the Triumph-1 trial also showed that 11.3% of participants at the highest dose discontinued due to adverse events, right? AEs. The GI effects, nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, were significant during titration. Dysesthesia, which is abnormal skin sensations, occurred in 12.5% of participants. These are manageable side effects, right? For a person whose body is well recovered, well nourished, and being monitored by a qualified physician. They're significantly harder to manage for someone who is already sleep deprived, cortisol elevated, and metabolically compromised. The compound is extraordinary. The foundation you bring to it determines whether you are in the 28% result group or the 11% discontinuation group. That is the conversation nobody in the mainstream is having. A 2021 study published in Physiological Reports showed that a single night of sleep deprivation drops muscle protein synthesis by 18% and raises cortisol by 21%. A study in the Annals of Internal Medicine showed that insufficient sleep cut fat loss by 55% and increased muscle loss by 60%, even on a caloric deficit. If you are starting any GLP-1 compound without a recovery-first foundation, without optimized sleep, without structured resistance training, without hormonal support, you are risking losing muscle instead of fat. And this is true on semaglutide, on tirzepatide, on Foundayo, and eventually on retatrutide. Now, the compound does not change the equation. The foundation does. The 12 to 18 months between now and the realistic, retatrutide access is not wasted time, right? It is preparation time. The people who will get the best results on retatrutide when it becomes available are the people building the biological foundation right now. Sleep architecture rebuilt, hormonal environment assessed and supported, metabolic function restored, resistance training calibrated, to recovery capacity, body recomposition already underway. That is the patient who gets 28% fat loss and keeps the muscle, maybe even builds some muscle. That is not the patient who starts from a depleted, under-recovered, hormonally compromised baseline. We are already building the clinical infrastructure so that when legitimate retatrutide access opens through approved physician-supervised channels, our clients have a clear pathway. That work is happening now. The window to prepare is now. Retatrutide is coming. The science is exceptional. The timeline is real. Earliest realistic access, late 2027 to early 2028 through legitimate channels. What you do between now and then is what separates the people who get extraordinary results from the people who get disappointing outcomes, disappointing ones. If you want to understand how to build that recovery first foundation, there is a free protocol briefing. At the link in the description, it's 5 minutes. No obligation, just clarity. And if you are already on semaglutide, tirzepatide, or Foundayo, and want to understand how to optimize your results right now, the Retatrutide Troubleshooting tool is also in the description. The link is there. So the principles are the same regardless of which compound you're on. So comment protocol or head to the link in the description. And I'll see you next week.